Hello, everyone. Welcome to Connections with Shawnta Jackson. I am Shawnta, and this is our opportunity as professionals to make the most out of professional networking, business growth, career advancement, and we do that by hosting live discussions with Q&A with individuals who not only inform, but these individuals also inspire as well as serve as a resource. And so this show is about reciprocity. I want you, the viewer, to benefit, and then also myself and then my guests from this conversation. So please do enter your questions and comments in the chat box. We are streaming live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And again, and if you don't have a question or comment, at least check in to let me know that you're watching and where you're watching from. And my next guest is Heather Yandow. She is the founder of a online platform called Nonprofit.ist. And Nonprofit.ist, basically what it does is it connects nonprofits with nonprofit experts, with consultants across the country. So she'll tell us a little bit more about that and her background with more than 20 years of experience serving as a nonprofit consultant. At this time, I'll bring up my guest, Heather. And again, enter those questions and comments in the chat box. And thanks for joining. Hey, Heather.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing very, very well. Yeah, we're at the beginning of November. It's Wednesday. I swear it was just Sunday yesterday. Time goes by fast, but I think they say it goes by fast when you're having fun, or also time goes by fast, just when you have something to do. So I try not to get in that mindset to where just because you're busy, you're thinking you're productive or that it's a good thing. But at the same time, I don't want to not have anything to do and just let time just kind of just wallow by. I don't want to do that. So.
Well, I'm so glad to be here with you, and I'm excited for the conversation.
Thank you. And you are in North Carolina, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So Heather, you and we first connected, well, we are connected on LinkedIn. And then I can't remember how I came across Nonprofit.ist, but I am a member, and I've been a member now for 2 years. I just submitted my renewal. And you initially, once I know you have different webinars, so you can tell the audience about the platform, but you invited me to speak on a panel, and it was a panel of nonprofit consultants who are also authors. And one of the other panelists was Dr. Bev Browning, who served as a guest on Connections. And I don't know if you remember or not, but Bev, she is the one that refers to herself as an earth angel, and I 100% agree. And Bev is also, I believe she's published over 40 publications for grant writing, and she's working on her 7th edition of Grants Writing for Dummies now. So all that conversation was so inspiring. I meant to talk to her about the nonprofit consulting and grant writing, and it actually turned into her personal story of faith and resilience. And so that was a really, really inspiring episode. But that's how we first connected. And so Nonprofit.ist, tell us a little bit about this platform and who it benefits.
Yeah. So Nonprofit.ist was started a few years ago, and the idea was to better connect nonprofit leaders, so staff and board members, to nonprofit consultants, and also coaches, accountants, lawyers, anyone who really is providing that service. So nonprofit leaders can come to the site, search around, click through to see people's profiles, and really find the right person to help with their project. And thanks for the link. So it's nonprofit.ist. And over time, we also really have built out ways for nonprofit consultants and other experts to build their skills and network. So the webinar that we just talked about was one of those opportunities. A lot of consultants think about writing books as a source of revenue. So we wanted to have that conversation with a few folks who were experienced in doing that. And then we also have lots of other ways for consultants to connect with each other and build their businesses.
Yes, and definitely also to collaborate. There's opportunity to collaborate, meet other consultants. Last night, I had a conversation with a colleague and she's a nonprofit consultant. And we were just talking about accounting and billing. What system do you use? What works best for you? Because my business is small, this works. So we're talking about the different platforms and non-disclosure agreements and our virtual assistants and who we hired and why this works and this doesn't. So it's really good sometimes to have a community to build and grow and learn, to build and grow and learn with and learn from.
Absolutely. I mean, most of the folks in Nonprofit.ist are solopreneurs or have a small shop, and we're always trying to learn from each other about, everything from what's the right billing software to I need to have a difficult conversation with somebody I'm working with one of the leaders I'm working with, and do you have any advice for that? Or looking for partners. So I'm doing strategic planning work with an organization, and they really want to have an equity component, and I want to find a partner. So all of those things are kind of bubbling up out of Nonprofit.ist.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about this equity partner that you're searching for.
Well, that was an example, although I do that work. I do a lot of strategic planning. So my other hat is, aside from the founder of Nonprofit.ist, I also am a full-time nonprofit consultant. And I do a lot of work around strategic planning and long-term thinking and just, answering the big questions for organizations. And over the past probably 5 or 6 years, really the concept of equity and how to best center that in all kinds of organizational conversations has been coming up more and more. And I think now I pretty much don't work on any projects that don't have some kind of equity component. And so depending on, if an organization has stepped into that at all and has done any kind of learning or discussing, or if they're further along in their journey, I might look for different partners.
And why is it that you choose to only work with organizations that have an equity component?
I think twofold. One is that really more and more people are understanding how important it is. And so I'm not getting a lot of requests that don't have it. So one is just the nature of how the work has evolved. And also I think it is centering equity is so important for organizations that if they're not thinking about how to do that, then I'm not sure they're a good fit for me, because I'm going to want to bring it up. I'm going to see where there are real questions about race and power and privilege in the work. And I'm going to want to ask those questions. And so I want to have a partner who is not just open to those questions, but is already along their own pathway of learning about this.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And Cause Engagement Associates, I actually looked down and I just saw my business card, which I probably shouldn't put on camera, but let's see. But at the bottom, so my slogan is socially conscious solutions, measurable results. And so I've personally decided, and I have another platform, ShawntaJackson.com, where I serve as an inspirational speaker, internet talk show host, author. I'm working on my second book now, my second self-published book that should be released hopefully in December. That's my goal, but I'm not going to rush it. But I like to say on those platforms, my purpose in life is to help people, to help themselves and others. And everything that I choose to do in my personal life, my personal values, it also is in Cause Engagement Associates. And so if you ask me, if I just had to sum it up, all of my services, I would just say I help organizations to plan and implement socially conscious initiatives. Everything that I do, everything about Cause Engagement is socially conscious. And before the term equity or health equity was popular, myself, my team, my colleagues, my clients, we've all have been from the initial core, equity focused, equity driven. Yeah, definitely. And so tell us a little bit about Third Space Studio. Is that your own business, or are you a consultant to them?
So it is myself and one other full-time consultant. And then we have somebody who works with us a few hours a week as well. And we work a lot in North Carolina, which is where I'm based, but really all over the country. We do a lot of strategic planning, as I already mentioned. We do a good bit of leadership development, and then more and more meeting design and facilitation. So if you've got a really sticky conversation that you need to have, you're pulling together a coalition that has some tension in it, that's the kind of work that we do. When the pandemic hit, we really beefed up our virtual meeting skills, and so have done a lot of virtual convenings. And we actually teach about better meetings, meeting design and facilitation, and virtual meetings.
Perfect. And how did you get into the nonprofit arena? I see that you have a certificate in nonprofit management from Duke University, but and I'll share my story as well. But I pretty much just got thrown into it. So tell me your story.
So I was really an activist in college. And I started working on environmental issues. So I was, the big campaign when I was in college was making double-sided printing the default in all of the copiers all over campus, which seems really silly, but it reduced our paper consumption some inordinate amount. So I started as an activist and was lucky enough to get a lot of training about how to develop campaigns and how to organize people, how to work with volunteers. And so after school, I really wanted to continue that. When I went to school, I thought I was going to be a math teacher. So I actually have a degree in mathematics. But after school, really decided that I wanted to pursue that passion, and was able to join a statewide environmental advocacy group based in North Carolina, based in Raleigh, and worked there for 9 years, first as an organizer and then as the director of development and communications. So was able to really get a lot of skills in development, do a lot of kind of planning and facilitation work, and then go out with my partner Meredith in Third Space Studio.
And how did you not, let me rephrase that. I think I want to ask you, we're live, Shawnta, we're live. So so you definitely have a transferable skill set. You definitely have a transferable skill set that you used. And I assume that you kind of just picked up on things kind of like as you went. And there are individuals who have this skill set and they have the experience, but they may not recognize it, or they don't know how to package it. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have to consultants, especially consultants on the platform, because they're setting up a profile and they want to make themselves more marketable? Any advice to them?
Yeah. So I think you're absolutely right. So I kind of built skills as I went. So where there are places where you can get an official certification. So as you shared, I have a certificate in nonprofit management from Duke. So it's from Duke. It seems kind of impressive. It's a great program, but it's also something that I can, list in my bio, which gives me that legitimacy. The other piece that I really focused on when I was first a consultant was doing a lot of free webinars or workshops, putting in proposals to speak at conferences, really kind of building up again that idea of kind of credibility, so that I was seen as, if not the expert, at least a trusted resource that people could go to. In terms of kind of building your profile or building your site, I think having some testimonials is always great. So having some real people tell the story of what you did and why it was so important to their organization. So certainly you want folks to say, I loved working with Shawnta. She was so fabulous, but also her work helped us get to this new place, which helped us really serve more clients, better achieve our impact, whatever it is. So really kind of focusing on that impact.
Yes, definitely. So just like how we sometimes help our clients with their storytelling, it's also important for you as a consultant, which you are an entrepreneur, to tell your stories as well. And even case studies. I like case studies, but the path that you took is pretty much as far as building that credibility. I did the same thing, and I'm still open to it. It's just pandemic, everything's virtual. You get a little busy, and so by the time you see the announcements for the abstracts is too late because you don't have time, but that's definitely what I did. I spoke at a lot of conferences, and I was fortunate to be accepted to some conferences where, even though I wasn't a paid speaker, my travel was paid.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, yes. So definitely some associations, they do have those budgets for that. And so and then my thing is, just providing value. In my office, I would listen to Tony Robbins a lot and his different interviews with folks. And I came up with this concept. And so Cause Engagement Associates, we would do these quarterly webinars. And I would actually identify experts or consultants in various fields, whether or not they were independent or affiliated with the organization as an employee. And I would host these webinars on various topics, LGBT, again, health equity focus, a healthier path for Native Americans, community engagement. Some webinars I would facilitate myself, but that's what I did for my marketing, is I provided value. And I didn't have the large, huge budgets, and so I had to think of creative ways to kind of get myself out there. And then also I compete for RFPs, and so I also go that route as well. And so just checking in, we have a few folks watching. We have Lorinda McKelvey. She is the founder and executive director of Cherry Blossom, and Cherry Blossom is based out of in the Midwest, a nonprofit organization that serves youth. And she says your organization provides great resources. Thanks for the insight, and she will definitely check out your website. And we have Reverend Jenkins checking in from Prince George's County, and she says, thank you so much for your suggestions. And she also says that these connections has helped me as I engage on developing my YouTube ministry. So thank you for that. She's faithful. She's a faithful viewer, and so is Lorinda. And so I really appreciate that. Through connections, we've kind of built a small community. And as I mentioned in my intro, this show is not only to benefit the viewer, but also you as the guest and me as the host, because it's just all about connections, so that we could meet with, and it could be different ways. So you are a woman entrepreneur, and so am I, independent entrepreneur, or solo, should I say, social entrepreneurs. And so I think that there's definitely a lot of opportunity out here. And just like there are a lot of jobs that are available, there are a lot of consulting opportunities that are available as well. And so with that said, how do you vet nonprofits on Nonprofit.ist? How do you vet them? Because this is your reputation for your company as well. How do we know that these are qualified and qualified, and they also offer quality services?
Yes, that's a great question. So, this is something we really struggled with when starting Nonprofit.ist, is what is the qualification? Nonprofit consultants, we don't have one specific certification. You can get all kinds of certifications. You can be a certified coach. You can have your standards of excellence consulting approval. There's all kinds of things, but there's not one that really speaks to everybody. So the way that we've thought about it is twofold. The first is that you can only get into the network and on the site by being invited. And so anyone who is in the network can send out an invitation. So the idea is that trust is transitive. So if I trust you and you trust somebody else, then I have a better chance of being able to trust them. So we're really trying to build the network organically by the real connections that people have. The second thing is that I believe that I believe there are certainly bad consultants out there. And I believe that the match between a nonprofit and a consultant is really important to get right, that there might be bad fits in addition to actually to good fits. So we have taken the tack of really thinking about how to help nonprofits be better consumers of consultants. So a lot of nonprofits have never worked with a consultant before. They don't know how to hire them. They don't know how to vet them. They don't know what a contract should look like. So we've been also educating our nonprofit leaders. We've got a network of about 2,500, 3,000 nonprofit leaders. And so trying to talk with them about what conversations you need to have before you call a consultant. Excuse me. How do you think about vetting them? And just trying to do that education. So kind of on both sides, trying to make sure that we've got good folks and good matches.
Yes, thank you. And I'm going to check in. Let's see, Lorinda has another comment. She says, such a helpful conversation. Shawnta, thanks for bringing these resources and knowledge to us. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I actually I had another show. It was called Live with Shawnta Jackson that I did on Saturdays, and I ended that to start this Connections, which is on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And I think for this series, I just have like these different ideas. So I think I want to go back to telling the stories of individuals with lived experiences, or folks that are those consultants, or those nonprofit organizations that serve community, and that are equity focused, to tell their stories. So with this particular platform, and sometimes I think I'm kind of ahead of my time on certain things that people have to catch up. I have so many interviews. I've done over 90 interviews on my YouTube channel. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? Folks can go back. they can go back and watch. But in 2020, so for this Connections, I say that to say that in December, I'm going to close out for now this series of Connections. And then in early 2022, I think I want to focus more so on those storytelling projects to help, at the end of the day, I'm still helping folks and still sharing resources and inspiring, individuals. But that's just something that I thought to share.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes, and we have Deidre Bird checking in, and she says, this is a very interesting and insightful conversation. Thank you. And thanks for tuning in, Miss Bird. I really appreciate you. And she is an associate consultant with Cause Engagement Associates. She's a new consultant that I am working with. And so we're working on a few business development projects. And so, and speaking of that, if anyone is interested in working with me and my team, Cause Engagement Associates, strategy, program planning, implementation, we specialize in community and stakeholder engagement, and we also assist research teams with community engaged research and dissemination support. So if you are interested in our services, please do visit our website at causeengagement.com. And if you are interested in me and my personal endeavors, you can visit my website and read my personal story at shawntajackson.com. And again, Heather, thank you so much for joining me today. I really did enjoy this brief conversation, but they're always brief, but they're always very insightful as well. And it's a lot of information and a lot of things to unpack. And so for those in the audience who would like to email Heather, and if you're interested in working with Third Space Studio, her email address is heather@thirdSpaceStudio.com. And the website is thirdSpaceStudio.com. And if you are a nonprofit and if you're looking to identify nonprofit experts or consultants, please do visit Nonprofit.ist. It's www.nonprofit.ist, and you can search. And so is this a free service?
Absolutely. It's free. You can search for free. If you want to click through to actually see all of the wonderful information, you have to create a free account, and you can do that by linking to Google or Facebook or putting in your email address. So we want to make it as easy as possible.
And then everyone, you can also connect with Heather on LinkedIn, Heather Yandow on LinkedIn, and build that relationship. And as Heather mentioned earlier, she's always, when the opportunities present themselves, She's always looking for other consultants to partner with, even though she has access to some of the greatest consultants in the United States through Nonprofit.ist, but definitely do connect with her. And she can look at your profile, and if she's interested and if you're pretty impressive, then she can invite you to join the network, because remember, it's by invite only. And let's see, I have one more comment before we sign off. Oh, thank you, Deidre. She says, thank you, Shawnta and Heather. And everyone, enjoy your the rest of your week. Be safe, wear your masks, wash your hands, take some time for yourself. And Heather, thank you for joining me, and I really do appreciate you and this time.
Me too. Thank you. This was really fun.
Have a great day, everyone.